Hello there. Is this on? It is on. It's working, unlike a previous week. Hello, my name is Robbie Ellis. Thank you for coming to this season finale rush hour concert here at St. James Cathedral. The scaffolding at the back, you can't quite reach heaven with it, but it gets you part of the way there. Robbie Ellis, as I said, and I've got two guests playing Mozart piano quartets. We first have Aurelien Pascal. He is a viola player around town, a member of the Black Oak Ensemble. And then Victor Santiago Asunción, very busy pianist in Chicago, no stranger to this concert series. And there's been a slight change of program. Whatever I announced last week is gone. We're not doing piano quintets by Dvorak and Coleridge Taylor anymore. We lost a violinist. So quintets have become quartets, and they've put together the two Mozart ones. Aurelien, I'll come to you first since you've got the talking stick. You're a member of the Black Oak Ensemble, and you have suitcases in the back.
Yeah, so once we finish this concert, David, the other member of Black Oak Ensemble, and I have to jet to the airport to get on a flight to Munich at 9 p.m. because we start a European tour for the new albums that just came out for the trio. So we finish these concerts and hope that we don't get traffic and then fly. And then we're basically flying for 24 hours, so that'll be fun.
And the third member of the trio, Desiree Roustrat, is already at the airport.
She's at the lounge, probably.
Yep. Kicking back.
Yeah.
Plenty of time to go through the TSA. So tell us about the new album. It's not the group's first, but it came out earlier this summer. All French music.
Yeah, we're very lucky in Chicago to have a recording label like City Records, and Black Oak Ensemble has been extremely lucky to be able to be recorded by Jim Ginsberg and Bill Malone and City Records. Our first album was called Silence Voices, which was an exploration of music written during World War II by Jewish composer in concentration camps. It was a bit of an archaeological dig in a way, and we found the pieces, got in touch with the families of the victims, edited them, recorded them, and it was a very emotionally powerful thing we did with that. This album is, the approach is similar in the way that we had to find some of this music. Like you said, it's string trios written between 1926 and 1939, double album, so you get twice as much string trios for your money. And some of them are world premieres. For example, we have a world premiere of a string trio by Henrique Tomasi, who's very well known for brass and woodwinds music. And so it came out July 14th. It's been getting some really great reviews, and we're really looking forward to taking it on the road starting tomorrow, I guess, if we make it.
Yes, and most of the composers on that album I had not heard of. I'd heard of Jean Francais, but Gustav Samazé.
Yeah, Gustav Samazé is a good one. Yeah. He was a critic.
One of the more difficult names to look at and pronounce.
Yes.
So that album is called Avant l'orage, Before the Storm.
Yep.
I'll move on to Victor now. You're a busy pianist around town. I mean, what pianist isn't? But you also have something called the Phil Am Foundation. What does Phil Am mean?
Phil Am is short for Filipino American. And so I founded this organization. It's a nonprofit. Back in 2018 as a way of giving back, and because I'm Filipino American myself, and so our main aim is to promote classical musicians of Filipino descent, partly because unlike most Asian nationalities, we don't get the same representation that other nationalities do. You often hear of Chinese pianists, South Korean violinists, and but you never really hear about Filipino American classical musicians, even though we are around. We play in great orchestras, and we run our own chamber music series. We're all over the place, and yet we just kind of like have this uncanny ability to just kind of like vanish into the woodwork. So.
Well, I do work with a couple, of course, Oliver Camacho on WFMT,
Right,
Filipino-American, and a working singer around town. And I've done a little bit with Fourth Coast Ensemble.
Of course.
So Ace Gangoso.
Right.
He's a tenor who's also in Chicago
Yeah.
a cappella. So
Right.
yeah,
And
you're not the only Filipino
exactly.
musician
And
in Chicago.
speaking
I know.
of Ace Gango, so he was supposed to perform last Saturday at our music festival, which we just concluded yesterday. But unfortunately, all my singers, all 5 of them, were exposed to COVID. So we had to scramble and change the repertoire for the last 3 days, in addition to this other scramble. Yeah, I mean, you do what you can. But I was really very proud of our music festival because for the first time, we were able to present an all Filipino-American lineup, even without the 5 singers. So, yeah.
Well, let's get on to today's repertoire, which, as Victor mentioned, is a substitution from the originally advertised. However, the substitution at least came before the print deadline for the programs that you're holding in your hands. So Mozart, in the years 1785 and 1786, those 2 years were some of his busiest and most productive. He wrote at least 3 piano concertos each of those years. He performed them in subscription series, fronting an orchestra. 1785 was also the Dissonance string quartet, where he was pushing boundaries beyond the very nice and easy classical style that was popular to play. Amateurs would buy sheet music and play it. And he wrote the second of the quintets that you're going to be playing today, but you're performing them out of order. I wonder why you chose, because it sort of offends my cataloguing sense, why you would do the later one before the earlier one.
Because the first one is better than the second.
Okay. How is it better?
I mean, it's still Mozart, so it's still very, very good, A bad Mozart is still pretty much anybody's best day. But it is a very good piece. The E-flat major is a very good piece, but it's a very almost academical piece. The first one, the G minor, is heavy metal. It has a lot of feelings, a lot of emotion, and we just thought that it's also the most famous. So we just wanted to make sure, everybody would stay until the end of the concert. Really. You will, right?
So the story with the G minor, the first one he wrote, but the second one you're going to play, is there was a publisher called Hofmeister who went to Mozart and said, I would like you to write 3 piano quartets that I can publish. And the goal when you are a music publisher back then, you want music that your customers will buy, and by and large your customers are enthusiastic amateurs who are going to play it at home. But what Mozart delivered was not exactly suitable for enthusiastic amateurs of limited means.
Why, Victor?
I mean, they're basically piano concertos. But I mean, it was definitely not, for the faint-hearted. So
Not the easiest parts.
right, not really. I think across the board, it's just a difficult work.
I mean, I play more than offbeats, as a violist, you remember that. So, I mean, the violin has crazy melodies, and so it's acrobatic.
And so Mozart delivered this quartet to the publisher, and the publisher said, you're released from having to do 2 more. If you're going to deliver ones like this that, your suburban middle class music patrons can't play in their drawing room or it's not going to sound good, don't worry, don't bother. But then he wrote a second one, which, you said is bad Mozart.
No, I mean, I'm going to get someone is going to, key my car for that, but It's not bad Mozart. It's still very, very. There is no such thing as bad Mozart. It's still very good. The other one's just better, I think. It's a choice preference. I'm sure you can find someone who thinks otherwise.
Well, this E-flat major one, which is the second he wrote, but the first that's getting played tonight, there's a movement which sounds a little bit like The Marriage of Figaro, which is an opera he wrote in the same year, 1786, where you've got the four voices weaving in together, and this is something that it's a remarkable moment in the Marriage of Figaro and the Marriage of Flutes. I'm getting my operas confused. In the Marriage of Figaro, where you have, I can't remember all the different characters, I'm not an opera nerd like that, but they're all weaving together in a similar way to what you're going to do.
Well, I mean, I personally think that everything that Mozart ever wrote was opera. Whether it's a violin sonata, a piano sonata, anything, he has that in his mind. I mean, he was a great opera writer. And you're right, in the E-flat major there is that, but we also realized while we were rehearsing that there is a direct quote from Magic Flute, and it's the exact key, and it's exactly, so I'm not quite sure where it
About
stands.
5 years before he actually wrote the Magic Flute.
Yeah, it's almost, I forgot the name of the aria, but it's a very sad
Pamina sings Ahich Fields.
Ahich Fields.
Right.
That
Yes.
one. Okay.
Exactly.
I did not know that was there. There we are. I'll finish up. We'll get away from the piano quartets, but I'll ask both of you, do you have just favorite moments of learning Mozart, performing Mozart, teaching anything like that to do with Mozart's music? Doesn't have to be these quartets at all.
I mean, from a teaching point of view, what's important is that a lot of the time Mozart comes with this big, like you must do this and not do that, and depending on the teacher, it can be almost, stops you from seeing the spontaneity that there's still in those pages. Teaching Mozart is always very, humbling. But from my point of view, my favorite piece by Mozart is the finale of the second act of Marriage of Figaro, which is insane 15 minutes non-stop through composed, out of this world, giant aria that encompasses everybody and then ends in this crazy choir, and it's just playing it, a lyric a few years back, and then listening it. I just went to see the Met playing it. It's just unreal.
I've heard someone say, I can't remember who wrote this, but that moment, a conductor tries to keep everything in time and everybody just wants to rush because it's impossible not to, because there's so much joy in that moment. And Victor, do you have any favorite Mozart memories from a career in music, or am I putting you on the spot? Or
Actually not so much favorite, but because I think every Mozart piece that I've ever played, there's always something special about it. But there's also something innately scary about it. In fact, I was remarking to David earlier that, why does it feel like, whenever I get to a point where there's a solo piano, I feel like I'm staring at a cobra. There's like this moment where you're like, oh my goodness, here it comes. There's something so incredibly simple about the writing and so naked and pure that, as a person that's much older, you're inclined to overthink everything. Make things more complicated. So for me, it's always, just this feeling of kind of like slight danger whenever I play Mozart. And once it's over, then this rush of relief. So I think that might be my favorite part when it's over.
you want to be the swan above the surface, and
Right.
whatever your feet are doing
Yeah,
underneath
you're just
is...
doing absolutely, just staying afloat.
Well, thank you both so much. Before I let you go, before I finish up, I will let you know about upcoming events from the International Music Foundation. Tomorrow's Dame Myra Hess Memorial Concert is also free to attend. It starts at 12:15 p.m. and it's at the 17th Church of Christ Scientist at Wabash and Wacker.
And I just have to say, the quartet that's playing tomorrow is absolutely fantastic. I know the violists; they're an amazing quartet. So
Yeah, the Terra String Quartet.
just
So
one
that's
fish off.
Terra as in the Latin word for for land, not Terra. The Terra String Quartet playing Vivian Fung and Franz Josef Haydn. And there is no Rush Hour concert next week. This is the season finale. However, we will be back here in early June. And I'm just going to announce what the concert is. It's Benny Goodman, Jascha Heifetz, Jacqueline Dupre, and Franz Liszt teaming up to play Messiaen's Quartet for the End of Time, and the composer will be present too. Obviously, that's nonsense, but the International Music Foundation will announce next year's program sometime next year. Thank you very much, Aurelien, Victor, and the concert starts 5:45. Hello and welcome to this season finale Rush Hour concert in St. James Cathedral. I'm Robbie Ellis with Mozart Piano Quartets today. This concert is presented by the International Music Foundation, which is grateful for support from the Claire Rush Hour Concerts exclusive media sponsor, as well as the National Endowment for the Arts and the Illinois Arts Council. Now, please welcome to the stage today's performers, violinist Eoin Andersen, violist Aurelien Pascal, cellist David Cunliffe, and on piano, Victor Santiago Asunción. you.